Welcome back to the GameSpot stage here at E3 2016, and this is brought to you by Airheads. I'm your host, Mary, and I am delighted to be joined by my good friend, Peter Brown, also GameSpot review editor.
Oh my.
Oh my. So official. And Philippe from the Red Barrels, who delights in scaring children everywhere, you monster.
What we like to do.
Yes, and you do it quite well. I was given the ability to play your demo for Outlast 2 at PAX East.
Yes.
Scared the shit out of me. It's just absolutely terrifying demo, and I'm sure we'll show some gameplay of it pretty soon, but it's like, you guys create the most haunting atmosphere, and I think you guys have learned a lot from the original Outlast that you're attributing to it. We can already see that you guys are bringing back the camera with the battery.
Yep.
You are, it's always in the back of your mind, but there's enough batteries scattered around through the world. But it seems like you guys are carrying a lot of elements from that original game. But what new elements are you guys making for Outlast 2?
Well, we worked a lot on the environments and the setting, so it feels like completely new. We like to have what I call, the what the hell feeling, what the hell is going on, and we want to make sure that that feeling is renewed every now and then, so that it never feels like it becomes familiar. With the first Outlast, when you got to the DLC, the Asylum almost felt like a familiar place, and we want to make sure we avoid that with Outlast 2.
And now, when you were saying you put a lot of effort into the environments, which you guys absolutely did in the first one. We went to all sorts of terrible places, and kind of culminates in just horrible environments. Like, sometimes you don't even know where you are, and this is true in the demo as well, where there were some times where I was like, am I in a school? I'm in a hallway. There's lockers. I'm not exactly sure where I am, but I'm in. Yeah. I know I'm somewhere I don't want to be. And it looks like now you're taking us to like the desert in the middle of nowhere. But there are people there. There's an underground cavern. What other environments do you have in store for us?
Well, the game starts in this village that people have been living there for 50, 60 years, maybe. We were influenced by the Jonestown incident in the 70s, Jim Jones, and during the Kool-Aid thing. And there's going to be a river section. There's going to be a place where people have syphilis, which, when it's really extreme, can look like leprosis. It's going to be underground stuff.
Please go on. It sounds like you have like all sorts of like really horrible and like, speaking of Jonestown, I mean, the people of this town are clearly on the Kool-Aid. Like, they are drinking the Kool-Aid. They're nuts, and they're trying to kill you. They got pitchforks. I mean, what's up with the townspeople who are super unfriendly?
Well, they are convinced that the end of times are coming, and actually it's going to take place at sunup. So you've got the one night to look for your wife, trying to find her, and they're convinced that she has something special that you're going to figure out what's happening with her by the end of the game. And it's really, we're trying to mess with the player's mind so that your sense of what's real and what's not becomes confused. And whenever you think you understand what's going on, we're going to put a new twist at you to just switch things up.
Yeah, I mean, in the demo already, as soon as I felt like I was comfortable in one environment, I was immediately transported into another. It seems like you guys are allowing some creative flexibility. You're allowing licenses to all of a sudden just be in a new environment without too much explanation of why. Now, the original Outlast was quite successful. It was both to critical and fan acclaim, which is fantastic. Do you guys think that gave you more creative freedom, more liberty to be a bit more experimental with this one?
Well, definitely we allowed us to take more time. In the first game, we had to finish it before running out of money.
Money.
This time we could try some things, make some experiments, and we just want to mess with the player's mind and make something that we didn't want it to feel like just a longer DLC. So we experimented. We did some playtests about a year ago, found out what worked, what didn't. And now, looking at the results of the demo, it seems that we found the right amount of elements that we can mix together without going too far away from the brand Outlast.
And as you mentioned, that you basically had the constraint of time, and time is money. Maybe because you have a little bit more, you are able to really make sure you fine-tuned everything before you've I don't know, really polish it up basically before you bring this to view.
We're a fully independent studio, and we sold about 4 million units of the first Outlast. So we're the way I see it is that the first one was like a solid double, and this one we want to knock it out of the park.
Fantastic. Now, going back to the original, you guys recently released a comic that kind of bridged some of the gap between the first and the second Outlast, kind of hinting that, are there going to be any characters that we might see from the first one? Is there any kind of blending that we should expect for fans of the original?
You're going to see them in the comic books, but the game itself, it's mostly new characters. And
even the guy in the demo, I don't think does too well. I don't even think I'm going to see him in the game. Oh, this is such a great part, and I think this is where we start going into the underground caverns. So we've kind of seen the outdoor environment, the village, but now we're getting into this underground area, and when you look down, this part is absolutely frightening.
That's when you understand that these people, they're not there for camping.
Yeah. The player has some really good audio feedback during these cues. If you guys watch the gameplay that we have on GameSpot, you'll hear the player starts breathing really heavily when he sees things that upset him, which is often, but it's a really nice reminder that something is so alarming that even the character can't contain it.
Yeah, and then this time we added more dialogue for the main character. In the first one, he wasn't talking. In this one, he will be. But it's mostly for us a narrative tool to just give more information to the player.
One thing I'm really curious about is how maybe you're considering VR support. If you are, is that a thing?
A lot of people ask us about VR. It's definitely something. We have the dev kits at the office.
Yeah.
So we always thinking about it. But we're a small team. We're 18 people. So we got to focus on one thing at a time. We'll get this one out of the door, and then we'll see what we decide to do after that. But obviously it would be really interesting to exploit VR with in the world of Outlast.
Of course, the mobility is sort of an issue when you're using a first-person game and moving with a joystick. That does create some disconnect.
Absolutely, yeah. There are some things that we're doing that are not very VR friendly.
Of course.
So what would be best is just to build something from the ground up for VR, and not just port or adapt whatever we already have.
Why do you think horror is so popular in general? Because it's one of those things that it turns off a lot of people. It also gets a lot of people very excited. Why is it that you think that people love to be frightened and terrified?
I think it's, for some people, just being scared makes you feel alive.
Yeah.
It's those natural instincts. We're never running from predators anymore.
Speak for yourself. I'm running from predators all the time.
Good old Jackrabbit Peter, always trying to save himself. I never really do get genuinely scared in my day-to-day. My biggest fear would be I don't know, money and just making it day to day. But the idea of why I love horror so much, going to a scary movie or playing any scary games, is to get that intrinsic fear, that rush, when you can feel your heartbeat. And
those are emotions that you don't, just like you said, you don't feel in your normal day lives most of the time, and so it's fun. That's why I think you go to movies or you read books or. To get these emotions that you're unable to get otherwise.
You mean art and media makes you feel things? So what about you? When you're playing your own game, do you still get a little bit nervous at times, or are you so aware of how it's working?
No, that's probably the biggest challenge, that you're so into it. Yeah. It's really hard to pull back and figure out if it's working or not. So,
sure.
At first you trust your instinct, and then you get feedback from the team, and after that it's play test and reiterate and redo it. You don't do a game, you redo it basically. It's
right.
The first time you do something, it's never as good as you hope it would be. So it's just you just have to stick to it and work hard.
You just get a bunch of playtesters and put them in a room with a mic, and the louder the screams, the more successful you guys feel your game is. I think this gameplay clip right here in the cornfields is so indicative of what kind of different types of atmosphere you guys are creating here. So there are people in this cornfield that are searching for you. You got to stay out of their lights. You're hiding. It's a really terrifying moment, and as you can see on the left, you can see left and right audio. which is really interesting because now I'm starting to use like dynamic audio cues to see if I can hide from people if they're coming from the left or the right. It seems like there's going to be more opportunity for that where you're in, even with the light, even when you're using the camera, your view will be obstructed and you have to find new ways to filter through the environment and get to the next area. I actually got killed in this cornfield scene, and it was really cool. The audio cues ended up helping me realize what I could and could not do. I ended up hiding in a barrel and using the audio cues to realize when I could leave. So I think that's really interesting. There's and I think that's really cool that you guys are inventing that kind of these new gameplay mechanics for the demo.
Yeah, no, the barrel is really interesting because there are some barrels with water in them, so you can't. Some of your senses get distorted. But like you said, you can use sound a lot to figure out if the threat is close or gone. And it's really in this part what we were after is trying to make you feel like the old village is after you. Outlast 1 was mostly about one guy chasing you down a corridor.
Yeah, that guy sucked though. He was really bad.
And so we're still gonna have that, but we want to also to mix it up and have sections that are more open with several enemies chasing you at the same time.
Even though there seems to be a village of many people, will there be an overarching villain or one key person that we will be fearing the most?
Yeah, I think after the first Outlast one, we did our post-mortem, having main enemies that are very stereotypical is part of the brand. And so, yes, there are going to be some characters that you're going to meet more than once. And actually, the one you see at the near
I remember her. Yeah,
you're gonna see her often. She's convinced that God has told her to take care of you.
Some of them almost didn't seem, well, they just seemed a little otherworldly in a sense. I mean, that girl, sure, you could say she's just a kid, but she almost looked demonesque. You guys obviously are getting a lot of inspirations from probably other horror classics, things that inspire you, like The Grudge or Poltergeist. What types of things have you guys been inspired by for Outlast?
There's The Shining, there's Jacob's Ladder. Also a more recent movie, Take Shelter, we liked a lot. I mean, basically we take stuff we like from very, very varied places and we try to merge them all into something that feels fresh and unique. But figuring out the school part, figuring out how that ties in with everything else is part of the experience. You're going to get some answers at some point, and maybe those answers will change also based on your own perception and philosophies. That's really what we're trying to achieve, something that when you finish it, people have different interpretations and argue about it. Even among the team, there are different interpretations of what goes on in the game. So I'm really curious to see how people react to it.
Now, in terms of length of play, the original, how would you say this compares to the original one in terms of like clocked hours?
It should be a solid 25-30% longer than the first game. So hopefully closer to 10 hours than the first one was between 5 and 7. I think this one will be closer to 10.
Great, and that does, I remember actually replaying the first one just to kind of get a better feel for it. I think what's cool about your game is even though a lot of these types of games you might not want to play again because you've seen it, like the jump scares and stuff, but because most of your fear is atmospheric, you can actually play it again and still get a really nice vibe for what's going on.
Yeah, I'm always amazed of reading comments from players who've played it several times, and also we have on the first game we had a insane level of difficulty which you couldn't die. If you die, you have to restart at the beginning. And I'm always amazed to hear players who've done it, because I haven't.
I mean, imagine dying right before like the 6th hour and just being like, well, I'll try again tomorrow.
That'd be really cool if, like, when you died, it was like, well, that's the only chance you had to play the game.
Yeah.
You can no longer play the game. You're dead.
Well, that's life.
Exactly.
She comes in and kills you in real life.
So is this coming to consoles as well as PC? Is that correct?
Yep, PS4, Xbox, and PC at the same time. The first one we had to ship them one at a time because we had to put the pipeline in place, but now we've got the pipeline, and so we're able to ship them all at the same time.
Physical copies?
Still in negotiations.
I hope so.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see other abilities to get your game, because your game is something that's now quite close to people. They're really interested in seeing what else they can have, and they want items to go along with it. They want collector's editions or something to give them physical elements to remember this game by.
Yeah, and we're gonna put up a store. I don't know exactly when, but that's part of our plan to have some figurines and stuff. It's it's just the fact, we're such a small team. We always have to bring back our focus to production, because otherwise it's easy to get carried away and deal with other stuff and just. I remember when we left our jobs, we were working in big studios and mostly doing meetings and stuff like that, and we really wanted to go back to be hands-on and work on the game. So it's kind of ironic right now that now that we've done it and we've got our company, we are able to work on the game, but at the same time there are just so many things to take care of and deal with. So it's a lot of work, but it's really satisfying at the same time.
Yeah, I feel like it's a huge part of your job to remind us that you're a small team all the time, so that people don't get overwhelmed with their expectations, because we want it all, right? And like that's just natural, especially with seeing the first game and having so much quality with such a small team and such a small time frame. I mean, now with all these resources, I think people have much higher expectations. Is that something that like motivates you guys? Are you looking forward to reactions of the public?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on the days. Some days it's daunting, but most of the time it's just a motivation factor. Motivation element, and it's flattering when you read people that they think it's a big blown AAA game. We really have talented people on the team, and we just work hard and we are passionate about what we do. I think that's what makes a difference at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about indie games, right? You can really tell that the people who had their hands on it really care, because there's so many small touches that maybe get lost in the noise for a big production. So.
Yeah, I think it's the big key is to work on something you would like to play yourself, and that makes a huge difference. If you're satisfied by what you're making, then it's going to make the whole difference in terms of quality.
100%, yeah.
Cool.
It was a pretty good sneak peek what we got so far. We've gotten basically a 15-minute demo. A lot of people can play, and then some gameplay clips out of that. Will there be any other things that you guys will be showing in the upcoming months for people to look forward to before your guys' release?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be the comic book, probably tons of screenshots, and definitely a new demo by the end of summer, probably. Either PAX Prime or Gamescom, nice new Gamescom demo. And this was like a pretty good chunk, like a 15-minute demo really gives you the vibe of the atmosphere, the story. So like we kind of know we are a dude looking for his wife. There's I think like it all begins like a helicopter crash. But before that even, there's like some preliminary story that helps explain why we're here and what we're doing in this world. So it'd be nice to even get more snippets of that story when we can. Yeah, it's always a challenge to try to find something that makes sense as a demo but doesn't give away too much of the whole game. I mean, I think it's part of the. I guess as artists, you want always the people to play it without, as a clean slate, they're not knowing anything. But that's not reality. You have to explain what you're working on and have people know a bit about the game before they buy it. Yes, I honestly have no idea what the next demo will be. It's probably going to be somewhere in the middle of the game. But I'm really eager to see how people react to it. We're going to be showing some really edgy stuff in this one. We pushed it a bit in the Whistleblower, but this time we're going further. And I wouldn't say I'm worried, but. I'm curious to see how people are going to react to those things.
I mean, if it's anything like your demo, you're already pushing the bar in terms of...
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah. Well, my penis got cut off, so I felt like I was pushed.
Wow.
It happened in the demo. Show me this demo. It's really cool. There's a lot of gameplay that's coming up now from everybody playing it here at E3, and it's really intense to see, so I'm looking forward to seeing more snippets of it. You guys do not have a release date yet, though, correct?
No, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm confident the game will get done this fall, but we'll see if it comes out just before the holidays or right after.
Okay, so that was Outlast 2, and that's on PC, PS4, and Xbox One sometime in the fall. But that's all we know so far, so we'll have to wait to see more. All right. Well, thank you so much, Philip, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and thank you guys for watching. This is the GameSpot stage here at E3, and we actually have a lot more coming up for you, but not me, sadly. This is the end of my hosting here, but it's been awesome hanging out with you guys, and please stick around. We still have several more live shows, lots of cool interviews, some exclusive gameplay clips, almost got through it, and you guys aren't going to want to miss anything, so please stay tuned, and I will see you guys again later.